Hey, how's it going? Josh here from Tech with Josh, and this is episode number 28 of Tech with Josh. In this episode of Tech with Josh, we're talking about Apple's newly launched Creative Studio plan, and it feels different. Not because it's another subscription. You know, I've done episodes. I hate the subscription culture. We have so many of them, and that's the thing. Apple's doing something different, and it's insane. You have to sit here and listen because they're clearly trying to collapse the entire creative workflow into one connected ecosystem: video editing, music production, image work, and even upgraded productivity tools all under a single plan. So, what makes it stand out? The price point. Right off the bat, Apple's Creative Studio matters because everything's gone expensive. Their biggest competitor is Adobe. Let me tell you what you get with Apple right now. You get Final Cut Pro, you get Logic Pro, Pixelmator Pro, Motion, Compressor, MainStage. You get premium features in Keynote, Pages, and Number, and they're gonna launch some more freeform things later on this year. I'm not gonna touch on that because it's not out. So you get all these pros. By the way, Final Cut Pro and Logic are all over $200 if you bought them. If you add up the value and you bought all of these applications to own, it will be north of 1,000. So how much is Apple charging? $30 a month like Apple One? Is it gonna be more? Because these are real applications. I'm talking about if you never played with them, these are more higher grade. So you do have GarageBand on your iPhone, on your Mac that you can use for free. Keynote, Pages, and Numbers are Apple's Office or alternatives, and guess what? They're free. You don't need the subscription, but you do get some AI tools in there. I know AI is a buzzword that you keep hearing. I'm not going to touch on that, but here's the thing. Final Cut Pro is a professional level video software. Some people might say, oh no, Premiere Pro works on more platforms, or you have DaVinci Resolve as an alternative, the studio version. That's true. But Final Cut, if you're a Mac user, it uses your hardware, and its export times are unreal on the M series processors. So these are great tools, and Apple is charging $12.99 a month. $12.99 a month. You heard that correctly. And if you pre-purchase a year, it's $129 a year. That's not bad. And I'm going to tell you why in a second. But here's something even better. They have a 1 month trial right now going on as of recording. Things can change. But here's something that's incredible. If you're a student, if you're going to college and you're majoring in film or content creation or anything, if you want to be a YouTuber and you're in college, your price for this isn't $12.99. No, it is $2.99 a month to get pro level apps. And if you prepay a year, instead of paying $36 for the year, if you did the monthly, you pay $29.99 for a year. $30 for this. You're getting these tools, and guess what? If you have an Apple family account, like I do, and your end users, like family members, can actually gain access to these apps as well because it's shared subscription. That is insane. So what Apple is doing is they're building an ecosystem for everyone to use their software. We know in America, the number one selling phone is iPhone. My primary device is iPhone. I'm recording this on the Mac. So if you're in college, you get a MacBook Air. You can get the M1 and it's be fine for like $600, or the M2, M3, or M4, or M5 for about $1,000 or less. You get a MacBook Air and you can edit 8K video on the MacBook Air. That is how insane those computers are. And you get the software for it for $2.99 a month. Logic Pro is literally a software that music producers use in their giant studios that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment. They use Logic Pro with Mac Studios and Mac Pros. It is that insane. They've been using it for decades. And you get that for $2.99 as a student. And guess what? Here's the thing. What Apple's doing is they're planting that seed because you're more likely going to have an iPhone. You can use CapCut or another app on your phone, but guess what? If you have an iPad, there's a Final Cut app for the iPad. It integrates so well. It doesn't do everything the laptop does or the desktop version, but it actually works well. And there's a Final Cut camera app, so you can use your phone a bit more to record different than the regular camera app because it's a basic one for everyone. So Apple released a Final Cut camera app, and guess what? It integrates with the iPad, so you can actually connect it wirelessly and have live camera feed on the Final Cut app on the iPad. It is great. One of the tools that Final Cut has is a magnet tool. So this relies heavily on the M series processors, and you can cut yourself out of a scene with the magnet tool, and you can change the background without a green screen. It works way better with a green screen, but you can apply effects. You can go on YouTube and look this up. So this is what you're getting for $12.99 if you're not a student, or $2.99 a month if you are a student. Let me tell you what the alternative is. Adobe Creative Cloud. With Adobe, you get Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, After Effects, Lightroom, InDesign, Audition, Acrobat Pro, and more than 20 professional applications. You're not going to probably use any of them if you're listening to me. But the main ones, we know Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, After Effects. Honestly, After Effects is great. But Lightroom, you can use Pixelmator. There's so many apps that you can use. So Adobe gives you a lot of apps. How much is Adobe? No, not that much. You know, Apple's $12.99. Adobe Creative Cloud for all the apps, $69.99. That is $70 a month for Creative Cloud for one user. And they give you a discount. Don't worry. If you pay for the year, $779 a year. So basically $800. Sure, you're getting more apps, and a couple apps are better. This is something new Apple just started. I don't know how long this price point is going to last if you have to be grandfathered in. But, oh, I'm sorry, there is a student price. It starts around $24.99. Yeah, $25, you're not getting all those apps as a student. $25 a month. And the main thing about Premiere and all of these other apps, they're cross-platform. You can use it on Windows, on Linux, and on Mac. That's the downside of the Apple Creator Studio. It's only on Macs. And to be fair, they can do that because they have an ecosystem stronger than any other company at the moment, in my honest opinion. So Apple just emphasizing their processes because they have their own line of processes, so they can optimize the apps for all of their devices. Whereas Adobe works on all operating systems, but your mileage may vary. You can go on YouTube and search render times if you use Adobe on the Mac versus Final Cut versus DaVinci and see, and you can look up different features. That's not for what this is about. This is me letting you guys know of an amazing deal. I'm not one for subscriptions. I have them because it's the world we live in, but I prefer owning my apps. Apple is here to change the game because they're going mobile with this, with the iPad apps, with your phone, with the Final Cut camera app. It's not going to replace having on an actual Mac. It will never do that. We're not there yet, and Apple knows better than do that because they want some Macs. But the main thing is, this is a killer deal that lets you into software that you wouldn't normally have access to. And if you're trying to be a content creator. Like I said, you want to be the nuts MKBHD who started when he was in school. You can do that. Use that login for your Apple ID. And guess what? Here's the thing about Apple with these student discounts. You get a discount on buying a computer. And sometimes you get AirPods or something free or heavily discounted because they want you in their ecosystem. They get you in young, and guess what? You're stuck there. How do I know this? I didn't buy the original iPhone in 2007. It was on AT&T. I had Sprint, or T-Mobile at that time. Then I had Sprint because I worked there. So here's the thing. When I went to college, I sold my car at the time, which was a 2000 Daewoo Laganza, fully loaded, leather interior, Bose sound system in there. Sold it and bought a MacBook, a plastic MacBook, because that's what everybody had. That's what family members who went to college had. That's what I saw kids on TV using in college. And I was young. I was 18. And guess what? I love that laptop. I used the crap out of it. And when I upgraded to my next laptop, I gave that laptop to my best friend. And do you know what was my next laptop? 2012 MacBook Pro, 13-inch. And I used that. The battery swelled up and everything. It didn't even have a dedicated GPU back then. Technically, it did a GT210, but that's because the CPU, the Core 2 series, didn't have a GPU on the thing. And from there, I kept getting more MacBooks. And it's just been ingrained with me. I have an iPhone and iPads because you go into the ecosystem and they're making apps easily accessible because they know you're in college. You can't just spend $300 on Final Cut. You can't drop that on Logic because you have other bills and you're not making that much. They're making it accessible and easily enterable. And that's basically it for this episode of Tech with Josh. Like I said, they're changing the game with this new subscription plan, and it's one of the few I can get behind because the value is there. Especially if you're young and in school, you can get that discount. Try it out for a month, see if you like it, and then cancel in the trial. That's what's so great about it. But thank you for sitting through this episode of Tech with Josh, and let me know if you're using it and what you like about these apps. And I'll see you guys in the next one.